Hello. So, my name is William Caruana, and I'd like to welcome you to today's presentation. I have opted to call this presentation Keeping Your Head Above Water in Post-Secondary because, it is a little bit difficult. But once you know how to swim, or once you know how to tread water, the freedom and the abilities at your disposal are truly boundless and endless. It's amazing. And so I found this to be a rather apt title. And as you can see, I've got it so the little bubbles move and everything. So, to start, I'd like to tell you a little bit about me. As mentioned before, my name's William Caruana, but you can call me Will. I recently graduated Rotman Commerce at the University of Toronto, which is a very prestigious school where I focused in management and marketing. Additionally, I had 2 minors in cinema and economics. I'm a proud Aspie. I am proud of who I am. I am proud of being a part of the Asperger's and autism community, and I believe that Autism Canada is a truly wonderful organization. I've had the opportunity to both work and volunteer with them, and I really do believe that they have the best of us at heart, best interests of us at heart. And additionally, I would like to say that I've had my struggles with mental health, obsessive compulsive disorder, anxiety, depression, and so I know the importance of having someone to listen, someone to talk to, and someone that's there. So that will play a part in today's presentation as well. As for what I'm doing right now, I am a master's student at Schulich, which is the business school of the York University. I am taking a Master's of Marketing program there. And yeah, I hope you have been enjoying the presentation thus far. I know that at Autism Canada they've put a ton of work into this. There are some really great speakers, Eugene Levy, of course, and so I really do hope that you have enjoyed this. So, for today, I have 6 tips for survival. There's no need for an SOS here. Everything's going to be a-okay. So I'd like to begin with the first tip, and the reason I've made this the first tip is it is arguably the one that you should address, if possible, before you get to university. And that is you need to get into contact with accessibility services. Now, this can take different names at different places, but for the sake of consistency, I will be using the name that it was referred to at the University of Toronto. And you can see a little picture of it back here. It was at 455 Spadina in between a place called Clubhouse and a 7-Eleven. And in that quiet little office, there were changes made to my education that helped substantially. So, accessibility services will help provide you with the accommodations and things you need to succeed. As someone with a disability or disorder, or however you may want to define it, a difference, so to speak, it is important that we realize that there are barriers to our education. And of course, that will vary from person to person. For some, it may be social. For some, it may be a rather high barrier. For some, it may be rather low. In my case, it was pretty low. But accessibility services will help you overcome these barriers. They can offer a ton of different accommodations. In my case, I was given extended time on my tests, and I was given extended periods to submit my assignments as necessary. I was able to type my exams, which was really important because, I hate to say it, my handwriting is quite poor. My penmanship is okay, but my generalized handwriting is not very good. So that made a real difference for me. It alleviated a lot of the stress and it made it easier to get through the exams. And they can offer tons of different services as well, including volunteer note-taking. Taking notes is a vital part of education, but it's not going to always be easy for everyone. Moving on to my second point, I believe there's absolutely no shame in taking a reduced course load. University can be difficult. It's hard. And the same goes for college, the same goes for apprenticeships, the same goes for pretty much any sort of post-secondary institution. It can be very overwhelming to have a lot on your plate at once, especially because in high school you would typically be talking about 4 courses, now we're talking maybe 5 or 6. So, getting a reduced course load will make things a lot easier for you. In my case, I saw a rather substantial jump up in grades from my second year compared to the first because I was able to take a reduced course load and focus more. That did mean having to take courses over the summer, which is a sacrifice in and of itself. You know, I didn't really take the same internships that some of my peers did. I was busy working, but doing so also allowed me to succeed. Now, taking a reduced course load might mean that you graduate later than your peers, or you work in the summer, or there are other ways around it. But you need to know that there is absolutely no shame in doing this. This is just a piece of advice that matters to everyone. Whether you're talking yourself, your brothers and sisters, your friends, it holds no barriers. Sometimes people just need to have a bit less on their plate because it will make it easier for them to succeed. So, for my third point, I'd like to reiterate that the first year of university is often the hardest. I mentioned before that I had improved rather significantly second year over first, and that's for a reason. In my case, the first year had some rather difficult courses such as economics, introduction to management, math and calculus, and, well, I had great appreciation for those courses, and in the case of management, it was more so a very difficult final exam rather than the course material. Getting through them was a challenge, and part of the biggest factors in that is university is a change, and, not all people on the spectrum necessarily love change. I can definitely attest to that. There's some that do, of course, but big changes are not things that I tend to like. And so having to adjust, having to see how things have gone, first year also had some difficulties involving the health of some of my family members, which sort of compounded things. But the point is, first year is often going to be the hardest. The good news to that is if you can get through first year, you can get through second year, you can get through third year, you can get through fourth year. Heck, you can even get through a graduate program with a lot less stress and be able to keep your head above your shoulders, keep your chin up, and it'll be all right. But you gotta know that the first year is often the hardest. And you also need to know that high school isn't necessarily reflective of post-secondary. It can be, but on average, expect your grades to go down. In my case, I went from a 93 average across high school, the last year at least, to a 74.5 average at university with about a 79 and 80 average in the last year. Similarly, I want to reiterate that it's okay to find your way. It's a big ask to know exactly what you want to do with your life, getting right out of high school, Ultimately, you're still young. And, for some of us, we have decided our life path, like, from the moment we were in diapers. And for others, you need to find your way a bit. There's nothing wrong with maybe take a gap year. There's nothing wrong with looking to other areas of expertise, other studies, other workplaces. Like, to give the perfect example, there were many people who joined my commerce program who went off into different areas: criminology, political science, science in general, sociology, film. Like, there is absolutely no shame in finding your way and deciding, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. Now, of course, this may have happened to some of you even in high school. In my case, when I was in the 9th grade, I wanted nothing more than to be a pharmacist. I was all about becoming a pharmacist, learning of all the different drugs and prescriptions and pills, and looking into potential real estate to open a pharmacy. I was committed. I was ready. Then I took science and I realized, you know what, this isn't quite for me. This isn't the skill set that most aligns with me. And then I took a marketing course and I realized that, you know, I was memorizing the names of tuna can brands when I was 2 years old, and realizing in retrospect, that's what I want to do. So the point being here, there's nothing wrong with changing your mind, with finding your way. There's a ton of flexibility in post-secondary to do this. If necessary, if you have to go back, that's an option as well. You know, you can find your way in the workplace. But the point being, hardly anyone has their entire life mapped out. And even those who do, they tend to change it often. So it's okay to take some time and go, I don't know if this is what I want to do. Or I know wholeheartedly this is what I want to do. Now, the 5th piece of advice is to make some time for yourself. I cannot reiterate how important this is. So pictured here is the Toronto International Film Festival, which would have wrapped up about a month from when you're hearing this first. TIFF, or the Toronto International Film Festival, is my absolute favorite event. You know, I make a habit to go every year to see the new movies, to see the stars, to take in the sights and sounds. You know, Festival Street, as it was called, is pictured here back pre-COVID, and it really is an amazing time. Similarly, I have hobbies, you know. I watch movies. I have an Xbox and a PlayStation. I really do think that keeping some time set aside for your hobbies is important, you know. Now, I understand, especially given the current economic environment, especially given the changes that are involved with going to post-secondary and the expectations of studying, that you won't always have time for yourself. But if you can make some time for anything from meeting up with a friend for a coffee to taking in a film at the theater to playing an extra hour of Fortnite, reading a good book, flipping through the newspaper, whatever it is that makes you interested, you need to make some time for yourself, because maintaining a work-life balance is key. If you're all work and no play, then really what's the point of it all? Similarly, it needs to be said that the opposite is true here too. I'm not saying your studies don't matter, let's just go off and play video games and read books and watch movies, because who cares? Because ultimately, of course, that's going to harm your grades, that's going to harm your mental health, it's going to harm a lot of things. But it's like all things in life, it's about maintaining that balance. Finally, and the 6th point, which sort of builds off the 5th, your mental health is important. You know, grades are important, school is important, but your mental health is most important. Your physical health is important as well. But in the case of your mental health, you have value, okay? As I said, your grades might take a bit of a drop, or they might go up. You know, it might be a little difficult. You might have those moments where you go, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Is this what I want to do? And that's totally okay. You know, you have value ultimately, and no transcript, no GPA, no amount of extracurriculars or lack thereof is going to define the true value that you have, because you are important and your mental health is important. So please, if you need to take a break, if you need to contact accessibility services for further accommodations, if you need to sit back and go, you know what, I need a semester to reflect on what I've learned and decide for myself if this is the right move, any of those things, that's all right, you know, because you have value and your mental health is important. I keep reiterating that, but it's true. So in terms of other frequently asked questions about university, I'll start with the topic of Zoom. You know, oftentimes you will be expected to be on camera in classes, but that will always vary dependent on the professor. In terms of note-taking, I highly recommend using OneNote or a notebook, whichever is best for you. I know that some professors are not the most keen on technology use, but I also understand that technology use can be rather important. It's a part of our day-to-day lives, and again, as mentioned, my handwriting has never been great. So maybe it's a good idea to contact accessibility services and make sure that your professors know that you have your laptops and technological aids for a reason. Just be sure not to get too distracted, okay? Because otherwise you won't be learning anything. In terms of classes, I think the best advice I can give there is to try and modify your timetable to best fit your needs. Now, of course, there are elements that will be out of your control there. I have classes at 8:30 in the morning for my master's program right now. I'm a night owl, so you can probably guess I don't love that as much. But if you can, try and make sure that you have space in between your classes, enough time to get from building to building as applicable. You know, if you learn best from home and you have the option to learn from home or from school, there's no harm in learning from home. Similarly, if you learn best in person, there's no harm. Just stay distant, stay safe, wear your masks. And yeah, in terms of any other questions you may have, this is where this next section comes in handy, because you are free to contact me. I can be found on Twitter at William J. Caruana. That's WILLIAMJCARUANA. Just follow me or send a tweet to me. Send a tweet at me requesting a private message, and I will get back to you, and we can private message. Similarly, you can find the link to my LinkedIn profile here. That's linkedin.com/n/William-C-934B93130/. So if you need anything at all, if there's anything I can help you with, please contact, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Finally, I just want to say thank you, you know. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for taking the time of your day. I hope I've helped you. If I have, great. If not, well, you know, I hope you still got something out of this. And really, I hope you have a great rest of the conference. Again, I think we've got so many amazing speakers and amazing advocates for the community, teachers. We've got like awesome conference is amazing because it's for people on the spectrum, by people on the spectrum. It's important that our voices are heard. So once again, I thank you for attending, and if you have any questions, any at all, please feel free to reach out. Best regards.